Muy buenos días, muchachos. Welcome to another day of Spanish class. Buenos dias, good morning. All right. So, guys, believe it or not, we only have 2 more weeks of classes. We have the rest of this week. Hope you guys had a great Memorial Day weekend, by the way. Yeah, so we only have the rest of this week. And if you've been completing your assignments, if you've been resubmitting the ones that I've asked you to resubmit, you've been checking your work, most of you, the majority of you guys, will be done by the 5th, which is in 2 weeks. So that's exciting. Definitely wish I could have been there in the classroom with you guys. I really wish this class was a little bit better, but I did try to make this class very straightforward and very simple so that I know you guys have other classes, so but it's definitely not the same, let me tell you. It's definitely a lot different in the classroom. So I hope that what you take away from this class is not that it's like this in the classroom. um, it's a little bit more than that, and but I hope you guys have enjoyed what I've shown you. Now, what I am going to do today is, since we just came back from a long weekend, today I'm just going to introduce you to the last bit of work we're going to do for this trimester. So basically, what I want you to do today is just to make sure, if you're not sure if you're meeting competency or not, what I want you to do is check PowerSchool, because two things are going to happen today. One is, because I gave you until yesterday to do that test, I'm going to finish grading those tests today. And the reason for that also is because on the 29th, and this is a big heads up, okay? This Friday, all teachers are going to come up with a list of students that are going to need, that are probably going to have to work with us for a little bit longer in order to meet competency. Okay? So, I don't want anybody in this class to have to do that. All you have to do is just complete your assignments, or if you got a low grade, resubmit them with correct answers. So, let me just go over what the schedule is going to look like for today, and then I'll show you this little schedule I made for the last 2 weeks of class. Okay, so let's start off with what we're doing today. So, hoy es el 26 de mayo, año 2020. Let's start with a date. Ready? Let's practice. 26 de mayo, año 2020. Very good. Now, our objectives for today, for this video, is that you will be able to go over the expectations for the last 2 weeks of classes, which I'm going to go over in a little bit, and you will be introduced to the topics we're going to cover in Chapter 3. Now, Chapter 3 is the last chapter we're going to go over. You will see in the schedule I'm about to show you that I'm not going to do the whole chapter. I'm actually only going to do the vocabulary part for this chapter because we only have 2 weeks. I think it's the vocabulary is more important than the grammar in this chapter, because the grammar is very similar to things you've already seen. So I'm just going to stick to the vocabulary, okay? Now, what I would like you to do is, at the end of in the video down here, you should see the assignments that I post. So all I'm going to post today is I'm going to post the vocabulary notes for Chapter 3. So you're due now, while you're watching this video, is just to take a moment and download the vocabulary notes, or you can print them out. Just have them with you, okay? So that as we go through the lessons this week, you have references and the vocabulary words next to you, okay? Now, the directions. I want you to watch today's lesson. It shouldn't be too long, the lesson. But more importantly, this week, because this is technically the last week that teachers are looking for students who are meeting competency or not meeting competency, I'm going to basically make sure that you guys understand what I mean by that. So, I want you to watch today's lesson, okay? And after you watch the lesson, I want you to check in the classwork section, okay, for any missing or low grade assignments. I also want you to check PowerSchool, all right? Now, basically, and this is only for my class, okay? So I'm going to put here Spanish class grades because I don't want everybody to get confused. I want you to think that it's the same in all the classes. It's not. So this is what it's going to show up as, all right? So if you have gotten a 65 or 100, anywhere between 65 and 100, if you look on PowerSchool, all right, the grades you should see for the exit tickets or the test or anything that you got a 65 or 100 on, all right, 65 to 100 on, you were going to have a 1 in PowerSchool. Now, there's two reasons why you might see a 0 instead. If you didn't do the assignment, if you haven't taken the test or if you haven't taken the exit ticket, you're going to see a 0. And you're going to see a 0 with this little sign right next to it. This is the missing sign. Okay? It's going to tell you that it's missing. So you have to, if you don't want to get a 0 on that, take the assessment, take the test. And if I was you, and I'm hoping you're watching these videos, you really have until the 29th. All the assignments and tests that I've assigned so far, if you're missing a couple of them, you should try to get them done by the 29th. This is the big date right here, the 29th. Okay? Now, also, if you see a 0, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's missing or that you haven't done it. Maybe you took the test or the exit ticket, but if you got below a 65 on it, okay, you need to fix your answers, and you'll see the answers in the comments or in the little comments I leave you for the assessment. And I want you to resubmit that assessment, okay, for any assessment or any test that I've already graded, but that you got below a 65. That's how you're going to make that 0 turn into a 1, okay? Either you take the assessment or the test if you haven't done so already, or if you already did it but got a low grade, fix your answers and resubmit it so I can change the 0 to a 1. Very easy, okay, guys? I'm doing this because I know this is not the only class that you guys have, and the majority of you are actually in really good standing. The majority of you have met competency for this class, which makes me really happy. Some of you may be missing a couple assignments, and maybe you did some, but you didn't do some other ones. So be careful because overall, I'm going to be looking to see how many assignments you completed and how many you fixed. So if let's say, for example, if out of 7 assignments, you only did 4, if you did only 3 assignments out of the 7, you haven't met competency yet. That's less than half of the assignments. So make sure you do your assignments if you want to meet competency. And please make sure you do it by the 29th. Okay? All right. Now, the schedule for the next 2 weeks. This is what it's going to look like. This is this week right here. So today, yesterday was Monday. It was Memorial Day weekend, so we didn't meet. I didn't post a video or anything. Today, I'm going to introduce you to chapter 3. El miércoles, tomorrow, is a flex day. I would like you to take that day. There is a couple of you that, as of right now, are not meeting competency because you're just missing assignments. So please complete the missing assignments, or if you got low grades on them and it shows up as incomplete, just fix them and resubmit them so I can give you a 1. All right? It is up to you, not to me. On Thursday, we're going to do chapter 3 vocabulary part 1. So I'm going to show you the first part of the vocabulary. And on Friday, we're going to review that vocabulary with an exit ticket. So yes, there are still some assignments we're going to be doing. There's 3 assignments left for this class: exit ticket 6, exit ticket 7, and the chapter 3 test. Now again, on the 29th, this Friday, students are going to be targeted we're going to make a list. So those students that are going to be targeted for instruction, okay, those are students that are missing a lot of assignments, are not fixing their answers or resubmitting their assignments. So make sure you do all that by Friday, because by Friday I'm going to have to make a list. I'm going to be sending out an email tomorrow or today to those students that are already pretty much on this list. It might just be that you have to resubmit some of them. But if you received an email, get right to work so that you don't have to be targeted, okay? Now, next week is the last week of classes for those of you that have met competency. Okay? So again, you just want to make sure you have all your assignments turned in by this Friday, okay? So that next week we can finish off the class. Now, the way we're going to finish the class is next Monday, we're going to look at Chapter 3, Vocabulary Part 2, so the second part of the vocabulary. And on that Tuesday, we're going to just review it, and you're going to take your last exit ticket. Woo! Exit ticket 7. That Wednesday is going to be a flex day. That Thursday, which is the 4th, I'm going to give you the study guide for Chapter 3. We're going to go over the vocabulary as a whole and practice. And then that Friday is going to be your Chapter 3 test. And that is going to be the end of class. So again, if you've turned in all of your assignments up to exit ticket 5 and Chapter 2 test by this Friday, you should be good to go. I'm not going to put you on that list, but if you're missing assignments, you're going to be on that list. So make sure you check PowerSchool, guys. All right, this schedule is going to stay here, so you guys can refer to it whenever you need to, okay? Now let's get to the lesson. It's not going to be a very long video today either, but let's get to it because I do have something interesting I want to show you. Now, for 6th grade, remember that you have access to this textbook online. If I go too fast or if you want to use any of these additional resources, you're more than welcome to. For the rest of you guys, just follow along in the video, okay? And here we go. This is Chapter 3, so let's begin. All right, so Chapter 3 is going to talk about in class and afterwards. En clase y después, okay? Now, Chapter 3 is going to focus a lot on what happens in the classroom inside of a school, and we're going to compare schools in Latin American countries with schools here in the United States. So, we're going to compare, vamos a comparar. It says, think about your school day. What do you do during school and after school? As you study this chapter, you'll discover some things that you have in common with students in Spanish-speaking countries, and some things that are different. Now, our objectives, and I don't want you to look at any of this stuff down here because we're not going to look at it. All right, this is the grammar part. We are going to look at all this stuff up here. We're going to talk about what you do in school. We're going to identify some school clothes and supplies. This is where the majority of the vocab is going to come from. We're going to talk about what you and your friends do after school. This is the second part of the vocab. And we're going to compare school and after-school activities in Spanish-speaking countries and the United States. I will show you this comparison through videos, and today I have something cool on Google Earth. All right? So, those are our objectives. This chapter talks about things we do in school, and we compare how we do things here in the United States versus Latin American countries. Now, let's go to the next page. Okay. That worked. All right. So, introduction to the theme. In class and afterwards says, look at these photographs to familiarize yourself with the theme of this chapter. School life in Spain and Latin America. You'll learn about what students do in school and after school. As you proceed through the chapter, think about the many things that you and the students of Spanish-speaking world have in common. So first we're going to look at this colegio. Colegio kind of looks like the word college. This is one of those things that in Spanish, these words are used a little differently. Like you may have noticed if you've gotten an email from me that I refer to myself as Profesor Perez. I say profesor because I mean like teacher. I don't really mean professor. This is another one of those instances. This doesn't mean college. This means school. Okay? We just use the word colegio. And this Colegio San José, this is in Spain. El Colegio San José es un colegio privado en Estepona, España. So it's a private school. En la Costa del Sol, so it's near the coast. El Colegio San José es un colegio mixto, so it's a mixed school para muchachos y muchachas. So because it's a private school, a lot of times private schools are either male or female. But this is a mixed private school, so that's cool. Now they just show us the symbol. All right, we didn't really show us a picture. But here in Argentina, it says las muchachas van a la escuela a pie en Buenos Aires. So they go to school on foot in Buenos Aires. Llevan, they carry with them a uniforme, a la escuela. Una blusa, a blouse, y una falda, a skirt. So uniforms, big in Latin America, especially the private schools. En México, son alumnos de un colegio en Tepoztlán, México. So that's a city in México. Observa que los alumnos llevan sus materiales escolares en una mochila. They're just saying, observe that the students are carrying with them some materials. Check out that cognate, materials, school materials, in a backpack. This is the word for backpack, mochila. Ecuador. Los dos amigos son alumnos en la misma escuela. So they're two friends that go to the same school. They go to school in Manta, Ecuador. Como las muchachas en Argentina, ellos también llevan uniforme. So like the girls from Argentina, they also have with them a uniform. They carry with them a uniform to school. Pants, pantalón. Dress shirt, camisa. Y un suéter, and a sweater. Now, take a look. Como en Estados Unidos, like in the United States, muchos alumnos, many students, toman un bus escolar a la escuela. They take a school bus to the school. Aquí tenemos, here we have, un minibús escolar en El Bosque, una zona residencial de Quito, Ecuador. Here we have a minibus, and this is from a residential zone called El Bosque, which is in Quito, Ecuador. So these guys go to school in Ecuador, and something that that we talk about a lot, especially in class, because I like to give my own experience with this, is that yes, this is a little school bus, guys. This says school on the side. They put the date on either the number of the thing, or they put a date or something. As you can see, this is a school bus for the 8th of October, so they changed the date. And yes, this little bus is what takes you to school a lot of times. We may have talked about how in Spanish-speaking countries, cars and things like that are smaller because people live in bigger cities. So, and also lots of people drive motorcycles. So that's kind of cool. All right, so in Peru, here we have a picture of a library. This is a biblioteca, a library, biblioteca. And just like in the United States, if you ever need to find extra materials or anything like that, library is a great place. Here we have let's see what it says. Muchos alumnos pasan tiempo después de las clases en esta librería en Punta Arenas. So in Chile, this is another type of library, but it's not really a library. This is like a bookstore. Librería is a bookstore. And it's a bookstore. Probably the students come here and grab some materials. Maybe here it's like a comic book store too. So, and that's in Chile. In Guatemala and Colombia, we have some different types of schools. I want you to notice that here, however, students are not wearing uniform. This is probably a public school, all right? And it's a little bit more laid back. It's in Colombia. Notice the open concept. This kind of looks like our school in Pelham, but you see the open wall here. This has to do a lot with climate, and we're going to talk about that a lot in this chapter. This is a modern school in Nicaragua. It looks like a very modern school. Looks very nice. And in Guatemala, these are just students hanging out after school. All right. So I wanted to show you, since we talked about some of this, since we talked about some of these schools and some of these things, right? I wanted to show you the school that I went to when I was little. All right. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go on Google Earth. Now I'm gonna start off in Pelham. All right. So here we are in Pelham. And where I'm going to take you is I'm going to take you to the school that I went to when I was little in Colombia. And it is a private school. All right. I went there when I was in elementary. So it was, I went there for kindergarten, first and second grade. Okay. So see if you can follow the Google Earth. We're about to go to Colombia. So it's kind of cool. Ready? Let's see if I can find it. Colegio. It's the name for school. Americano, Bogota. So the name of that school that I went to when I was little was called the American School in Bogota. Um, the American schools are actually all over Latin America. They're private schools and they teach things like religion. They teach other languages like German, English, French from very little. So they are private. They're kind of hard to get into these schools. But let me show it to you. All right, here we go. So we're leaving Pelham. Bye, United States. See you later. And now we're in Colombia. And you can see that we're in the heart of the city. Okay. So I'm about to zoom in. But before I do that, if you've ever wondered where Mr. Perez is from, not only is he from Colombia, but this is the capital, by the way, Bogota. I was born Campín. This is the soccer stadium, very famous soccer stadium in Colombia. But I am from this area right here. Where is it? I'm from right here. This area. Now let's zoom in. Ready? I want to show you some pictures. This is the school that I went to when I was little. It did not look this nice. Let me start off with that. They definitely repainted it and added some things. Now, what you see here, all right, this is called the American College of Bogota. It's not a college, it's a school, okay? And in fact, it's almost like a community school because what you see here are a bunch of different buildings and they're all different, like different grades. So, for example, this building right here, this is the elementary school. This building here in the middle did not exist when I was little. This is the middle school. And this here is the high school. Now, this building is a lot bigger. It goes further out. And if you go through this alleyway here, there's a little shortcut in here. You can get to the back of the building, and that's where the kindergarten is. So this is the field, this is the high school, this is the middle school, and you can see over here they have things like this is the library. I remember going here. They do a lot of foreign language classes in the library. This is like where the administration office is and everything. And you can see it's a nice school. Check out the background with all the mountains and stuff. Um, one thing that we're going to talk about is how a lot of schools are walled off, where they have like fences around them, and it's just a privacy thing. And this is the back. You can see this is like the kindergarten section. Like for example, this is the middle school, the back side of the middle school. This is the back side of the high school, and then the elementary is somewhere over here. And they just show some pictures from the inside. This is what Colombia looks like. I wish you could. Oh, there we go. So this is a nice little picture of Colombia, what a street in Colombia would look like, people walking. Um, I lived closer to the mountains, like somewhere, not this way, but it was closer to the mountains. And as you can see, like they've definitely upgraded a little bit. You can see all the motorcycles the high school students probably take to go to school there. They've added some solar panels, I see. They definitely added a lot more because when I went to school, it was not this nice. Oh, and this is during like a festivity or something. Must be like an event going on. They used to have lots of these. So, and this is just another picture of what the neighborhood looks like. So I wanted to give you guys this kind of like a preview or like this kind of like idea of what living in Colombia would be like, going to school in Colombia. This is the elementary school. As you can see, it's nice. You got this, gotta have the soccer nets. But it's really nice. Now again, this is a private school, so you're seeing a really nice school. Public schools in Colombia are not as nice. Okay, it does cost a lot of money to go to private schools, but I definitely was not rich when I was little, just so you guys know. All right, so that is an idea of what a school in Latin America looks like. I wanted to show you that one. I could show you other things like I wish this wasn't translated, but let me see if I can show you something else. Yeah, I wish this wasn't translated so I can show you guys some other stuff, but it automatically translates it because this is a school that also does things in English. So, all right, so this was a little introduction of what this chapter is going to be about. Okay, tomorrow, sorry, on Thursday, we're going to start talking about the vocabulary, and as you can see, it's more stuff about school. All right, so you can look forward to learning a couple things about school. All right. Okay, make sure you guys check this. If you have any questions, please email me. I will be finishing grading those tests today. All right. If you have any questions, let me know. Hope you guys have a great day. Hasta luego, muchachos. Ciao.